Morning, everyone. Last night I took full advantage of our healthcare system. I called Telehealth Ontario and they said, go to the hospital. And I went to the hospital and I was there from about 7 p.m. till 1 a.m. I don't want to comment on the timeline of care because I don't really have a benchmark to compare it to, right? It was a Sunday night and everything is so individual. But everybody working in the hospital took really good care of me. They were all very concerned about getting me better, and the care I experienced was very, very good. All of them, I asked them, what is the biggest block to you delivering the service that you envision in your head, right? Because there was a lineup, even though everybody was telling me it was a slow night. And anyway, the answers differed greatly from person to person. And that was interesting to me, from doctor to nurse to the triage nurse to everybody had kind of a different idea of what the issues were within the Ontario healthcare system. So it was an interesting conversation. It was interesting to experience firsthand. And thank you everyone for your thoughts and everything on Twitter last night. I really do appreciate it. It made a long night in a barren room more bearable. So thank you, everyone. I do appreciate it. Now back to the politics, because I missed my video last night. Here is a Trudeau poll that looks like the Liberals are really, really sinking. People are actually getting it, but I don't know who this 27% is. So here's the meme. It says Trudeau hits new low in latest poll. CPC 40%, Liberals 27%, NDP 12%, Green 11%, and no Maxime Bernier to be found. I mean, I think they probably could have made room for him even at 3%, but whatever, doesn't matter. Who will you be voting for in October? And here is the actual poll and the news that goes along with the poll. But the sinking Liberals have lost a lot of support. That's 10 points since February anyway. They were at 37 to 35 for quite a while. And man, that is quite the fall from grace in a very short period of time. And this poll doesn't even count yesterday's, that's very unneighborly, unfriendly, 2 days ago, unneighborly, unfriendly, and yesterday's China. Japan. China? Oh, goodness. Japan? So I wanted to point this out because Mr. Bernier's 2019 electoral platform is being rolled out. I'm not going to go through this right now, but I want to announce it. And I want to mention that I'm going to be doing more hard policy videos closer to the election. So I'm going to be comparing People's Party to Liberals' policies of the same ilk, to Conservative policies of the same ilk, and NDP and Greens. I haven't really ever got into NDPs and Greens just because, honestly, I think at this point they're not a huge factor at this point in time because they're not making news. I might cover Jagmeet Singh during election because he'll be an integral part of it, because he might pull votes from Justin Trudeau, et cetera, et cetera. But in the run up here, they're doing PR and they're running around doing what they need to do, but whatever. So I want to mention this, but anyway, I will be talking policy closer to the election. And well, I really do focus kind of center right. So I'm probably not going to really go too far into the NDP policies or the Green policies, just in case. Well, maybe Green, depending on how things shape up. But I will look at it soon. Okay, that was rambly. I apologize. So here's what I was alluding to before. Here's another meme, because Justin Trudeau is a meme machine. And he says, the meme says, Japan, North Korea, why are you fighting? You're both Chinese. Right. And that's, I'm sure China would love that, but Japan, not so much. And here's CBC News reporting of this latest prime ministerial gaffe. And make no mistake, if Mr. Bernier or Mr. Scheer or Mr. Singh or Miss May, anybody made this gaffe, okay, probably not Miss May or Mr. Singh, they would be raked over the coals. If Mr. Bernier did this, if Mr. Scheer did this, they would be headline news for weeks. Bernier doesn't know, blah, 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 blah. Scheer is unaware of Japan's difference from China, etc. But because it's Trudeau, here he goes. CBC News reporting. China top of mind as Trudeau hosts Japan Shinzo Abe. I believe that's how you say his name. Sorry if it's not. China was top of mind for Justin Trudeau during a visit from Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe this weekend. The two leaders met in Ottawa to commit further to the business relationship between the two countries. It was a chance to tout their strong relationship in the face of trade woes with Canada's two biggest partners, but it's clear Trudeau's focus was elsewhere. During an appearance with Abe, he spoke about the diplomatic relations between Canada and China before quickly correcting himself. Later on, he accidentally referred to Japan as China again. China's detention of Canadian citizens and its blocking of canola shipments came up during the meetings between the leaders, and I'll scroll down. It says Japanese official says Trudeau had raised it and Abe listened, but the conversation didn't go beyond that. So that I just scrolled down there and I wanted to mention that. So, but here's like 3 sentences or 3 paragraphs about China. So I think that's really kind of funny. Like, this is a Japanese, like, Trudeau misspoke very, very poorly there. And not in, I mean, I don't want to say insultingly, but, you know, it's not great and whatever. But man, doing it twice, well, let's watch one, shall we? This is the post-millennial. This is where I saw this, so link will be in the description, and we'll watch the whole video here.
The first time of this mandate, on the occasion of 90 years of diplomatic relations between Canada and China, Canada and Japan. For the first time of this mandate, on the occasion...
Sorry, I know, that's more than we're used to. But really, ooh, cringe. And this is the last story for this morning. I just wanted to point this out. I think it's really kind of funny. This was like supposed to be a bombshell, you know, oh, we're going to reveal extremist subculture. Oh, and I've seen other hate crimes are on the rise everywhere. You know, there's 9 hate crimes in all sorts of cities. Right. Okay, fine. But the Globe and Mail says, reporting, quote, Canada's new far right, a trove of private chat room messages reveals an extremist subculture. This article is garbage because, well, I'll tell you in a second, but it's almost funny. Here's the subheading. It says, an analysis of 150,000 chat room messages paints a picture of a group that is actively recruiting new members, buying weapons, and trying to influence political parties. Oh my goodness. It sounds terrifying until you realize the messages were given, and this is reported by the Globe and Mail, the messages were given to the Globe and Mail by Montreal-based anti-fascists who infiltrated the chat room in order to gather information on the far right and disrupt their activities. Oh, so you're going to use a terrorist organization, and it's not me saying they're a terrorist organization. Here's the Calgary Herald citing a Canadian report from Alberta that cites Antifa as a terrorist organization. And this is a report I reported on the other day. Calgary Herald says, from Al-Qaeda to soldiers of Odin, extremists finds fertile ground in Alberta report. And I scroll down to the part that matters. The left-wing extremism. It says the report's category on left-wing extremism includes anarchists and Antifa groups. To date, the report found left-wing extremists have not been involved in any major incidents in Alberta, nor do researchers believe they present a significant threat to public safety. Well, it's interesting, guys. Did you know that they were infiltrating groups in order to collect evidence and prevent whatever, or disrupt their activities? Because that's, I don't know, not cool. Maybe report it to the police, Antifa, instead of actually taking terrorist action and being... vigilante. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, they can't be vigilantes and say, yeah, we're not participating in terrorism activities. We're just collecting these guys' names and then we're going to get them fired from their jobs. No, that's not okay. That is not in the realm of normal behavior. That is cited by this group as maybe not a significant threat to public safety, but they are a left-wing extremist group. So having the Globe and Mail say these guys totally are legit, 100%, here's what they found, kind of lazy, Globe and Mail, like really lazy and very leading in your reporting. If I got the Sons of Odin to report on, let's see, Al-Qaeda, would that work? Yeah, maybe let's get Al-Qaeda to report on Antifa. Let's see what they think. Do they think that Antifa is a threat? Maybe. I mean, talk about ridiculous. It's an absolute... Let's get Hezbollah to give us a report on who they find as extremists, whatever. It doesn't make any kind of sense to report this as news because these people are extremists. And how does their interpretation of chats or their cherry-picked 50,000, 100,000, 150,000 chats prove their point? All it proves is they found a whole bunch of words that they could have done whatever they wanted to with screenshots and whatever. In today's modern society, you can have, well, we've got Sharknado 7, right? Like we can make anything look like anything. It's incredible. The power of Photoshop and the power of video and the power of all this stuff. So having 150,000 chat room messages says we can, a million monkeys in a room typing is going to come up with something. And really, I read through this article because I was going to highlight it and say how ridiculous it is. But like, there's one chat exchange in here that talks about the teacher's aide encouraging the children to read more into the history of it because the history of it is very clear. And, That's not alt-right. That's just saying, if you're interested in this, there's a lot more to the history. Go read it. Have fun. You might find something out that changes your outlook on things. That's part of the human experience. So, anyway, I find articles like this so interesting when they're reported and put out by mainstream media like the Globe and Mail. Like, in what way is using a far left extremist group and their source make legitimate news? I have no idea what these people are thinking, other than to try and push this same narrative that Mr. Trudeau's pushing with alt-right, despite the evidence, despite the fact that these groups have usually less than 500 people, and usually much less than that. And to be fair, same with Antifa, according to these studies, or this specific study in Alberta, right? They're talking 30 to 70 people for Antifa, 300 to 500 members in 2017. Like, come on, or 2018, falling, right? By almost 50% for the far right ones. So it's very strange the way they can interpret a piece of news, and then here's another piece of information. If it backs up their bias, if they can get some clicks, they'll print it, I guess. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Check out the People's Party of Canada.ca, because nobody owns your vote. You have to, as a political party, you have to put forward a platform that earns the vote. That's how this works. It's that simple. Nobody owns the vote. There's no splitting a vote that is mine and mine alone, right? It isn't beholden to anybody, period. So, the splitting the vote conversation. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Vote your conscience, because that's all we've got, right? Have a wonderful day.